Though we've broken our vows 1,000 times, though we've broken our vows, though we've broken our vows 1,000 times, though we've broken our vows. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Please join us. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. We're going to start on this side. Come, come. Everyone, come, come, whoever you are. Despair. Come. Go again, one more time. We've broken our vows 1,000 times, though we've broken our vows 1,000 times, though we've broken our vows. Thank you.
Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church in Naperville, Illinois for November 12th, 2023. I am Caroline Bailey, a member of your Board of Trustees. We are glad you are here, whether you are present in the sanctuary or watching remotely this morning. It is so good to be together. We welcome you to our church and invite you to get to know us better after the service. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold that there are many paths to truth and meaning, and we support one another on our spiritual and religious journeys while holding ourselves in covenant. The rich liberal legacy of Unitarian Universalism is rooted in our faith's 7 principles. These principles guide our faithful actions as we work to transform the world to be more just and equitable. You may find these principles listed on our website or on the wall outside in our social hall. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. I have one extra announcement. It says, everybody loves a super sale. Remaining silent auction items will be on sale in Creeves Hall today only, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's jewelry, puzzles, books, greeting cards, and more. Lindy Spreetsma and/or Ken Cook will be in the office to take your payment, cash or check only. The items have a suggested price, but you may also make your best offer. If you're online, we invite you to greet each other through the chat. And if you are present here, I invite you to turn to someone you did not come with and greet them with a wave and a good morning greeting.
I light this chalice today for our fourth Unitarian Universalist principle. We believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning.
Today, Reverend Mandy and I are going to talk about practice. Many of us know someone who practices medicine or law, and we know people who are practitioners of yoga. We hear about people who call themselves practicing Catholics or practicing Buddhists. To be a practitioner, to have a practice, means being engaged in something at a core level. To have a practice means we have made a commitment to something. It is our way of life. So, to be a practicing Unitarian Universalist means taking our faith seriously, living into it, having it guide our words and our deeds. So I'm going to make an assumption here that most of you here today identify as Unitarian Universalists, or at least have UU tendencies. So if you identify as Unitarian Universalists or similar, what is it that gives you that identification? When you go home after church, does church go home with you? If someone were to visit your house, would they know that you are a Unitarian Universalist? Growing up as a Catholic, we had a picture of the Last Supper in our dining room, and in the living room hung a crucifix with dried out palm fronds tucked behind it. So chances are that if you came to my house, you knew that we were a Catholic household. So what do you have in your home that identifies you as a Unitarian Universalist? Perhaps you have a chalice on your dining table that you light before meals. What else might be evidence that you are a UU? Perhaps it is the social action, social justice activities that you participate in. So maybe it is by your outworldly actions that it identifies you. But today we're not going to talk about how you should decorate your house or what social justice activities you should participate in. The practices that we're going to be focusing on are more inwardly focused. Some might call them spiritual practices. Spiritual practices are tools for being deliberate about tending to our own inner growth and listening to our own inner wisdom. These are techniques for focusing our attention on the sacred or the holy, for developing and enriching our spirituality. And by spirituality, I mean breath. Breath is the taking of life-giving essence from the world around us and the release, in turn, of life-giving essence. Spirituality is a metaphor for our interdependencies, the fact that we change and are changed by our environment in a continuous play of creation. Spiritual practices are aimed at helping us understand that connectedness, to sense our oneness.
Altars are one of the oldest traditions of marking sacred space that we have in this world. They are space that is set aside as holy or sacred. Altars can be a space outside, like a labyrinth. I find the spruce grove at Morton Arboretum, how many of you have been there? I find that to be sacred altar space. Many people create altars in their home. In our house, we actually have several altars. Our altars are unique depending on whose it is and what their belief is. They include elements that are important to us. You can find pictures of your ancestors, like my mother. You can find flowers and stones, beads. We have wasps' nests on ours. I also have dragonfly bodies and insects on ours. You can put fruits or vegetables, candles. Really, nothing is off limit, especially in our tradition by which all things are sacred. These altars are space for spiritual centering. This is our altar today. It has many of the things that we will be looking at and sharing together. One spiritual practice that is often done when entering altar space is lighting an element, such as sage. This is not the only time that sage or an herb is lit, but it is one that is found in the practice of approaching an altar. For many traditions, the smell of the herb combined with the smoke is said to offer cleansing properties. I believe that the smell of these alterings clears the mind and centers you differently. After all, smell is one of our most potent senses. Now, when creating an altar, lighting an element, or with any spiritual practice, it is important to remember what is yours to hold and do. Cultural appropriation is when a dominant culture takes an element of a tradition as their own, often twisting it for their own meaning and uses. Especially as white European colonizers, we have to be particularly careful to avoid taking and participating in practices that are not ours, especially if we have no relationship with those from whom those traditions come from. The practice of lighting herbs or resins is a long and ancient tradition. Different people use different herbs and resins and in different ways. Sage is probably the most well-known and ubiquitous. White sage has been used by First Peoples here in the Americas for centuries in a practice known as smudging, while other forms have been used in Europe and elsewhere. White sage and smudging have been misappropriated, and First Peoples have asked us not to use those elements unless in relationship. But that does not bar us from using other forms of sage. Palo Santo, this lovely little stick, is traditional to First Peoples of Central and South America as well as the Caribbean. It is also used for smudging practices, and the charcoal is also used in rituals. Sweetgrass here is another North American First Peoples herb. It's sacred in many capacities and used in rituals, including smudging. I highly recommend a book that I consider my Bible, Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, Braiding Sweetgrass, for more on this lovely plant. Sweetgrass has rituals in regards to its harvesting, its drying, the braiding of its plant, and more. Today, we are going to light these three elements to bring us into ritual space. I will be doing the sage, and I have asked my family to come forward, my family who has indigenous roots, to light the Palo Santo and the sweetgrass. I invite you to breathe in the aroma of these plants, letting them cleanse your minds that we might worship together. Singing can be another form of spiritual practice. And today, the hymns that have been selected for this service are hymns that can be sung in meditation to center our minds and hearts. Please join me in singing our first sung meditation.
Gathered here
It is time to gather, and I'd like to invite the kids to come over and join Mandy and myself. Now, yoga is a practice that originated in ancient India and is rooted in Hinduism. It has been passed down through generations, and the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to unite or join. It is a practice that aims to unite the body, mind, and spirit through various physical postures, breathing exercises, and meditation.
The philosophy of yoga is based on the belief that we are all connected and that everything in the universe is interconnected. It teaches us to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. The ultimate goal of yoga is to achieve an inner state of a state of inner peace known as samadhi, through the integration of our physical, mental, and spiritual lives. This peaceful state allows us to experience a sense of happiness and contentment that transcends our everyday worries and concerns and taps into pure consciousness.
So I have a pose for all of us to try. So please stand if you are comfortable doing so, or you can do this while seated. You're able to do this where you are at, but it may help if you spread out just enough so that you got some elbow space. Feel free to use the back of the chair in front of you for balance if needed. We're going to do the eagle pose. It has 4 steps, but you can stay and hold the pose that you are most comfortable with.
1 minute, the golden eagle can be standing motionless, high on a mountaintop, scanning the landscape. The next minute, they can summon all their energy, stretch out their enormous wingspan, and plunge through the air at speed in the search for prey. Eagle pose is a standing balance that mimics the pose and strength of the golden eagle.
So let's start by standing in mountain pose, as shown on the screen. If you're sitting, you can do the same pose from your chair. Looking straight in front of you, with your legs straight and your feet together, put your hands in prayer position, or namaste. Visualize a beautiful golden eagle perched high on the peak of a mountain, looking down majestically on the valley below. Steady your breath.
As you breathe out, bend your knees and spread your arms out to your sides like a pair of wings, like you see in the slide. Not too far, but like in the picture. Feel yourself firmly rooted in the floor or on your chair. You are the eagle high on the mountain peak.
Keeping both of your knees bent, and this is where you can choose whether to go ahead or to stay here. Keep both of your knees bent. Cross your left leg over your right so that the ball of your left foot makes contact with the floor just to the side of your right foot. It is okay to hold the previous pose if that is what you are comfortable with. Make a soft fist with your right hand and place it under your chin. Support your elbow with your left palm. Breathe steadily for a few moments. Now release the pose, shake out your arms and legs, and repeat on the other side. Mountain, and then wings. Cross your right leg over your left, and then left arm, your left fist under your chin, and support it. and hold.
And then shake when you're ready. Eagle pose is very good for nurturing determination and inner conviction. It also helps you to concentrate and makes your legs feel really strong, right, adults? This is a good movement for when you are feeling uptight or unsure and need to find some inner strength.
All right, so you can relax, shake it out, and everyone can return to their original location and be seated.
Our vision of beloved community is rooted in the relationships that we have with each other, our world, and all of creation. Each week, we offer the opportunity to share our joys and sorrows aloud, or holding a moment to hold each other if we hold them in our hearts. Today's flowers were given by Caroline Bailey and Robert Scrocky in celebration of their 21st wedding anniversary. Congratulations to both of you. The Kuber-Malquini family is celebrating Bree's second birthday today and her Graham's birthday yesterday. Lots of happiness in the Kuber-Malquini family. I have a thank you note from the Alive Center, who received donations from us in one of our special collections. The Alive Center and all of our teens deeply appreciate the collection that we raised for them. We cannot do what we do without you. Belonging, acceptance, and inclusion are critical for a loving and kind world. Thank you from their CEO, Candace. New members Ariel and Kate Steffen share that Ariel's mom, Linda, was unexpectedly hospitalized on Sunday evening. They've been traveling back and forth to Michigan to care for her. Please keep Linda and the Steffens family in your thoughts and prayers. I would ask, as the situation in Israel continues to escalate, that if you feel so moved, to please contact your senators to ask for a ceasefire so that peace might be brokered. Finally, this weekend we celebrate Veterans Day. It is a time where we honor those who served our country. I would ask that those of you who are a veteran, would you please rise if you are willing and comfortable to do so? Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for honoring our values as Unitarian Universalists as you do your service. Even when the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy in the connections we have with each other and in the pleasure that life holds. Let us care for one another, whether our joys or concerns were spoken aloud here or remain in your heart. Our sung response today is a meditative prayer. Please stay seated as Amanda leads us in the meditation. Prayer beads are a form of beadwork used to count the repetitions, chants, or mantras of different religious traditions. And there are many traditions that use prayer beads. I know we often think of Catholic and Rosary, but they are only one of many. Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism, Umbanda, Islam, Sikhism, the Baha'i faith, some Christian denominations including Roman Catholic, but also Lutheran, the Oriental Orthodox churches, and the Eastern Orthodox churches are all among some of the religions that use prayer beads.
So in the Roman Catholic Christian tradition, these prayer beads are called rosary beads. Each bead represents a prayer, and the current bead is held between the thumb and forefinger to keep track of where you're at. And there are different kinds of rosary prayers. This is one of them. The most basic rosary prayer goes like this. The rosary is begun on the short strand with the sign of the cross, sometimes using the cross or a crucifix. And they do the Apostles' Creed, and then they move on to the first bead and they do the Lord's Prayer, Our Father. And this is for the intentions of the reigning Pope and the needs of the Catholic Church. And then Hail Mary on each of the next three beads for these three, the theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity. And then the next bead is Glory Be. And then there's a large bead that is the connector of the loop and the small strand. And that is the Lord's Prayer. And then you start going around the circle, and these are in decades. There's 10 beads and a single bead, 10 beads and a single bead. So the 10 beads are let's see. Yep, you start with 10 Hail Marys, and then the Our Father, and then you can do the Glory Be, and then 10 Hail Marys, and you continue all the way around until you get to the end. And then to conclude, the Hail Holy Queen, sometimes with other prayers while holding the medal or the large bead, and then the sign of the cross.
In Islam, prayer beads are called misbaya. Misbaya are used to recite a type of prayer known as a dhikr, which is done to remember God. The prayer usually includes the names of God or a dua, which is a prayer of supplication taken from the hadiths or the Quran, the holy scripture of Islam. So this is the beginning of one such prayer that you would then follow all the way around. And for each line, you would move from bead to bead. And I'll give you a small portion of it. In the name of God, the all-merciful, the especially merciful. I seek refuge in God from the exiled Satan. I seek refuge in God, the all-hearing, all-knowing, from the exiled Satan. Glorified is God. All praise is due to God. There is no deity but God. God is greater than everything. In Hinduism and Buddhism, prayer beads are known as japmala or mala beads, which means garland, and they usually come in 108 or divisions of 108. In Hinduism, these beads are made of rudraksha stones, which are the seeds of an inedible fruit, which unfortunately, I left my rudraksha beads at home today, so you'll just have to imagine what they look like. They're associated with the Hindu god Shiva and are used to chant mantras like Om Namah Shivaya. This mantra means, "O salutations to the auspicious one." But it is more complex than that, of course, because each sound of the phrase Om Namah Shivaya represents an element. Na represents earth, Ma the ma sound represents water. She represents fire. Va, the pranic air, and Ya, sky.
In Buddhism, mala beads may be made of many different things: crystals, stones, wood from the Bodhi tree, which is a sacred tree to Buddhists, or sandalwood. This is sandalwood. And if you have a chance to come up and smell it, it is fresh sandalwood. There are many different sects of Buddhism, and many have different mantras for their prayer beads. One of the most well-known is associated with the patriarch Vajrasattva, known as the 100-syllable mantra. O Vajrasattva, honor the agreement. Reveal yourself as the Vajra being. Be steadfast for me. Be very pleased for me. Be fully nourishing for me. Be passionate for me. Grant me all success and attainment, and in all actions make my mind more lucid. O Blessed One, Vajra of all those in that state, don't abandon me. O being of the great contract, be a Vajra bearer. Mantras are repeated hundreds and thousands of times, and the beads are meant to keep track of those mantras so that the person saying them can focus on the words and the intention. Prayer beads are a good way to focus your mind. And because prayer beads are so universal, you can not only make your own prayer beads, but make your own mantra or prayers for your beads. Something that might hold a wish or hope, something that you might need to learn. Mindfulness. Church member Mary Coleman just finished a 5-week series on mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness. It's a pretty straightforward word. It suggests that the mind is fully attending to what is happening, to what you're doing, to the space you're moving through. That might seem trivial, except for the annoying fact that we so often veer from the matter at hand. Our mind takes flight, we lose touch with our body, and pretty soon we're engrossed in obsessive thoughts about something that just happened, or fretting about the future, and that makes us anxious. Yet no matter how far we drift away, mindfulness is right there to snap us back to where we are and what we're doing and feeling. If you want to know what mindfulness is, it is best understood while being practiced. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. Mindfulness is a quality that every human being already possesses. It's not something you have to conjure up. You just have to learn how to access it. A mindfulness activity that I like to do with the kids is to pick a card from my Mindful Kids Mindfulness Activities card deck. The instructions for each card starts by focusing on how you're sitting or standing, and then moves to your breathing, followed by a thought exercise to keep your mind focused on one thing over a short period. So let's give some cards a try. This first card is to start your day, and it's titled Rings of Light. So sit mindfully with your spine straight and body relaxed. Close your eyes and take 3 soft, slow, mindful breaths. Imagine a glowing white light of wisdom between your eyebrows. Breathe out and send that light out and around you like a ring of protection. Now see a red light of courage inside your throat. Breathe out and send that light around you. Finally, see a blue light of calm inside your heart. And send the blue light around you as a 3rd ring of protection. Take a moment to feel safe inside the rings of light around you. And carry that safe feeling with you into the day. The next card that I have picked is about focus and exercising your brain-body connection. Sit tall and take 3 soft, slow, mindful breaths. Press the fingertips of both hands lightly together in front of your chest. Keep your fingertips touching and tap your thumbs 5 times and say, tap, 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 tap. Now tap your pointer fingers 5 times, keeping the other fingers still. Tap, 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 tap. Tap your middle fingers. Tap, 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 tap. And your ring fingers. Tap, 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 tap. Your pinky fingers. tap, 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 tap. Now start with your pinky fingers and go back the other way to your thumbs, saying tap along the way. Shake your hands and wiggle your fingers when you're done. Your brain is connected by the muscles in your fingers. And when you exercise your fingers, you exercise your brain too, which prepares you to focus. When we're mindful, we reduce stress, enhance performance, gain insight and awareness through observing our own mind, and increase our intention to others' well-being. Mindfulness meditation gives us a time in our lives when we can suspend judgment and unleash our natural curiosity about the workings of the mind, approaching our experience with warmth and kindness to ourselves and others.
Giving of our treasure is how we reciprocate the many gifts we are given by this community. Your contribution supports the programs and operations of DuPage UU Church. Giving is also how we live our values in the world. Each month we share our offerings with an organization nominated by the congregation and selected by the special offerings team. During November, the special offering will benefit the Humanitarian Service Project, nominated by Karen Hutt. The Humanitarian Service Project is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for seniors and children affected by poverty. They serve the elderly, children, and their families living in DuPage and Kane counties with meals and other essentials. Their programs are designed to meet the basic needs of those struggling in poverty and to support their emotional well-being. HSP is a private nonprofit, and their goal is to live in a community where no child, senior, mom, dad, or grandparent fears going to bed hungry, and they always have a safe place to come for help. For more information on the Humanitarian Service Project, visit hsp.agency. The morning's offerings to support the work of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church and the Humanitarian Service Project is given and received in a spirit of generosity and gratitude.
for you today before we end our time together. Spiritual practices are something that we as staff participate in ourselves individually because we know that the only way that we can be our best selves for you is if we are our best selves for each other. So I encourage you in these final two, after you've seen all these many ways of doing an altar or modifying prayer beads, to please take some time to be intentional about your own spiritual practices. And please reach out to us staff members if you would like some guidance in what to do. Our next practice is drumming. Drumming is a practice that is sometimes done by itself or in preparation for another practice. The drumming rituals are predominantly from Africa or other First Peoples cultures. Today we will be experiencing a shorter version of a drumming session. Please enjoy. Another spiritual practice is sound. Whatever spiritual practice you find for yourself, may it be one that holds your heart, that lets you focus, that challenges you to become more than what we already are. Please join me in singing our last meditative hymn. please join me in our chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish the light of this chalice, but not the light in our hearts. Until we meet again, may the warmth of our community carry you.